Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I have for you an unboxing and initial impressions of the Oneplus 5T. Really the successor of the Oneplus 3T from last year, a nice little spec bump a little bit from the Oneplus 5 that we had earlier this year. We finally have an 18:9 aspect ratio over the 16:9 that we had on the 5. We also have a little bit of an aesthetic difference. Now the fingerprint sensor has finally moved from the front to the back. This is TK. Let's check it out. Now, as you guys saw with the thumbnail, I didn't just buy the phone. This is the Oneplus 5T, definitely the latest version. But I also did buy the additional upgrade package here because it does come with accessories to the phone. But not only that, it came at a discount at the time of purchase. I'll give you guys a link in the description below also if you'd like to be able to get that discount directly for yourself, to be able to get discounts on accessories at least. Now, the main thing is obviously is the phone. We do have an extra cable here, an extra dash charger, US plug, of course, for me. We have the carbon fiber case, which we'll go ahead and check out. We also have a glass protector. This is the Oneplus 5T glass protector. This is their own brand, and also we'll get a chance to check that out. And then, of course, we have the earbuds. These are pretty much the same ones that we had earlier this year. They haven't really upgraded these. So this is basically the Bullet earbuds version 2 black. And here we are. The phone again is centered. Now, of course, the first thing that's going to pop to us is the fact that there is no more fingerprint sensor on the front. It's basically an edge-to-edge display with a very small minimalistic top and bottom mount. Now, out of the box right away, I can see that they do already have that little, and you can see kind of a little bit of that groove around the front-facing camera. They do have their plastic screen protector already applied on the device. So I'm not going to remove this right now. We're going to keep this on, and we'll do probably a separate video talking about the glass protector that comes with it, just to kind of give you guys more of a feature focus there. Here we are. We do have some changes between this one and the 5, of course, and we'll get a chance to put those on and check this out. Let's go ahead and power it on real quick. Okay, we got that little vibration. I'll put it on the side. The box should be pretty much the same as we got earlier. Oh, that is interesting. If I'm not mistaken, I do not recall that the first one came with a case. It looks like the 5T does come with a free case built in, so I do now have two cases for this. There's this one, which seems to be like a TPU see-through case, as well as the carbon fiber that I got. We have the SIM removal tool, some instruction manuals, of course, and cannot forget the Oneplus Never Settled stickers. Last but not least, we still have the dash charger and the Oneplus standard red and white cables, USB Type A to USB Type C. This device does have USB Type C. Let's go ahead and start looking around. Turning it off on the bottom, of course, nothing on the top. We pretty much now have the new aesthetic design. The dual cameras are still positioned in the same spot. The fingerprint sensor has been removed from the bottom screen to the back, essentially putting it in the right spot. It's been in this position for quite some time, and a lot of devices have already kind of adapted that. So it's nice to see here that this is what we're going to be getting. So the hope is that obviously with the OnePlus 6 next year, we'll be able to see that right out of the box. Before we go too far, I want to go through some of the main differences between the 5 and the 5T, and then we're going to go quickly over the 3T to 5T differences. We have a 5.5-inch display on the 5 to the 5T of 6-inch, and that was one of the main upgrades. So the aspect ratio of the resolution changed from 1080 by 1920 to 1080 to 2160 to compensate for that 18:9 aspect ratio over the 16:9 that we had on the 5. PPI doesn't really change that much. It's 401 to 402. The 16 megapixel and 20 megapixel sensors did change from the 5T to the 5, from the 5 to the 5T. Where we had a telephoto lens on the 5, now we have both cameras with the same focal length, although one of them is down at f1.7, which gives us supposedly better low light performance, and that activates whenever you're in a really low light performance area. So front-facing cameras stayed the same. Chipset, we're looking at the same thing. Again, we're looking at the Snapdragon 835 accompanied by the Adreno 540. 6 gigs of RAM on both of those. That's the model that I picked up. I picked up the 128 6 gig model. 300 milliamp battery on both of those guys. Fingerprint sensor, yes, although the 5T now has it on the back. The connector is still using dash charging, nano SIM, and of course two slots in there for dual SIM support. The 64, both models, as I mentioned to you guys, the ones I have at least, have the 128 gigabytes of internal RAM. So that's one of the things I wanted to mention. And I think that would be also kind of a little bit of a correction here. It looks like the spec here references a 6 gig and an 8 gig. Both my models are 8 gig models as I purchased the 128 version. So you can either get the 64 6 gig or the 128 8 gig, and I have the 8 gig on both of those. From the 3T to the 5T, again, main differences is 5.5 to 6 inch. For the PPI didn't change that much. We went from a single camera setup to a dual camera setup. Front-facing camera stayed the same. The Qualcomm chipset went from the 821 to the 835, and of course with the Adreno 530 to 540. We only had the 6 gig option, 6 gigabytes of RAM on the 3T, where we now have 6 and 8. The battery did go a little bit lower from 3400 to 3300, but overall the rest of the specifications stay the same as far as storage. Looking at both devices, obviously the main aesthetic differences is the lack of the fingerprint sensor and the bigger screen that we have now on the 5T. So the big difference obviously is we're going to a 6-inch display, as I mentioned to you guys. The front-facing camera is the same. The speaker grill seems to have gone a little bit smaller on the 5T. On the right side, the power button stayed in the same position. On the back, now we have, again, the 16 megapixel and the 20 megapixel sensor, although on the 5T, we have them both at the same focal length, where we had a telephoto and a regular focal length camera. Dual tone LED flash with a single microphone. Now we have a fingerprint sensor that's been removed from the front here. Turning it to the left side, we now have the volume rocker, as well as the what is it called here? I think it's called the notification toggle. We have the silent, vibrate, and on. On the bottom, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack, a single microphone, of course, USB Type-C, capable of dash charging with the provided cables, as well as the speaker grill. Single firing speaker at the bottom, still the same thing. Overall, very nice. The carbon fiber feels really good on both cases. I definitely appreciate that. And of course, you notice here that the case now has a little bit of a protrusion on it, different from last year, where it actually kind of covers the optics. It's no longer flush. The old design is slightly different. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's right there. There's a little bit of a difference in the way the aesthetic now. It actually covers the lens as the lens protrudes a little bit more. Going over, we can change the vision settings. We can go to font size. I'm going to go ahead and reduce it as usual. This is just my normal preferences. So here we are at the main home screen. The background looks really, really nice. We still have the Never Settle right here on the left side. This is their own little dock that gives you access to some of your custom shortcuts. Overall, the swipe is very, very quick. We still have custom swipe down to update. It looks like there is an update. Update now to Oxygen OS 43. I'll update that as soon as we're done with this video. And other than that, the settings, same color scheme. You have Wi-Fi setup. Looks like Oxygen OS didn't really change much. NFC is still built into this device. Tap to pay, of course. Alert slider, the buttons option, you can customize them. Long pressing, double pressing. So the soft buttons are still customizable, even though we don't have the buttons. Gestures, swipe fingers to notification, long press to take photos, flip to mute, three finger screenshot, draw on the screen when it's off, double tap to wake. All of those things are still there. Status bar customization, show percentage on the battery, display network speed, of course the time setup. Display, we do have the ability of going into night mode, reading mode, screen calibration. Here we can go to default, and this is where you can change the different color tone. Theme by default is set up to be the default. I like to usually keep it as a dark theme. I'll let it change for a second. As you can see, definitely all the colors have inverted. Let's go ahead and go back to the default one. Ambient display, of course, right there. Display size, screensaver, LED. Casting is also built in. Sound notification settings, battery by default comes about 60%. Storage and memory, now out of the 128 gigabytes of storage that comes on this device, 761 are used out of the 111 that are available. So 111 comes to you available, 761 are used by the system. So most of it is other and cached, and of course apps. So those are the ones that are already installed. But out of the box, you still have over 100 gigs of usable space there. Apps installed, location, security, and lock. This is where you'll be able to add the face unlock, and then we're going to say add a face. And so we're going to say here, it's asking us to put the device. So we're going to go ahead and say next. It says place the device 20 to 30 centimeters from your face. And we're done. Now we should be able to lock the device. After you set it up for the first time, you do need to log in with your PIN. After that, you just power on, and it's that quick, like serious. It's ridiculously fast. Definitely appreciating the fact that the device has definitely a much bigger display. I mean, we're gone from 5.5 to 6 inch, but also almost edge to edge. The bezels on the side, unfortunately, are pretty much the same. On the top and bottom, we definitely lost a lot of those chin and forehead. Last but not least, I want to just do a quick video on YouTube just to see how the quality of the pictures are.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today I have for
for you a quick comparison, a speed test specifically, between the Pixel 2 XL and the Razer phone. I've had quite a few requests from the last couple of videos.
Jack it up.
Okay, so this is a quick sample of the front-facing 16 megapixel sensor on the Oneplus 5T. Again, just quick sample for you guys. Again, I kept it at 1080p. The front-facing can only go to 1080p, although the back-facing camera can definitely do more. But for the video's sake, since this is a 1080p 60 video, we're gonna make sure everything stays at the same level. Let's go ahead and switch over to the back-facing camera. Now we're switched over to the back-facing camera. Again, a quick audio test, video test of the Oneplus 5T. I have to say, there's a couple of things here that most of us didn't realize. I'm really happy the fact that this phone came with Android N, not Android O. And you're going to be like, well, why, TK? We want Oreo and everything. Well, at the end of the day, my OnePlus devices are generally the devices I root right out of the box. And also, these are the devices I like to install exposed and make sure that they're customized down to the level that I like. Android Oreo is not supported by exposed at this point, where Android N is. So definitely very appreciated. I'll probably be sticking on this one, at least, with Android N till Oreo is supported with obviously exposed. I really appreciate the fact that the OnePlus 5T definitely has a much better display now. The aspect ratio is a little bit better. The 18:9 is more in line with the rest of 2017. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Next is going to be the video doing a quick comparison speed test between this and the Razer phone, because a lot of you guys asked me last week when I did that speed test is how is this how would the Razer phone compare to the 5T? Now that we have both at 8 gigs of RAM, both running the Snapdragon 835, we should be able to get some nice comparisons there. Like and subscribe as usual. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.